All right, well, I'm going to call this meeting to order. We've established that there's a quorum. And I may have started a little too early because Meg Langford's going to be our acting secretary tonight. Call this meeting to order at 6:05 p.m. Can everybody hear me? Yeah? Okay.
We'll do a quick roll call. Meg Langford, present. Brian Hansen.
Present.
And our new member, Brandon B.V.A.C.
Present.
Can you guys use speak in the microphone, please?
Present.
Got it. Great. Okay, we've established that there's a quorum. We have distributed the minutes from last meeting.
So yeah, you all have minutes in front of you. I'm going to make a motion to approve the minutes from last time. Does anyone comments, questions?
Want to second that one?
Second the moment. Minutes. Does anyone oppose the minutes from last time?
Great. Okay. Moving right along. Let's show, there are no committee reports today at this meeting. We're going to run right down the agenda. First things first, we'll turn it over to Supervisor Pyska if she'd like a supervisor update. And just a reminder, she's a pro at this. If anybody is going to speak, we're going to ask you to say your name and speak into the microphone over there.
Microphone is.
Great.
Poppy.
Got it. Better? Okay, so I have a few updates. Next month for the October meeting, Lars is going to be here to show you all the remodel plans for the senior center. It's about $2 million. They've been working on that. And so run it by everybody, consider use, because it will be for the senior center, but then in the afternoon it'll be available for the community. It's community center, rentals. So it's a pretty big remodel. Really excited about that. I won't be here. I have to be at a conference next month, but I want to let you know that I think it's important to get public input on the uses for that. So hope you can come to that. The fitness equipment at the community park is finished. If you haven't seen it, go over there. This was a project that Supervisor Brown had worked on before me. I think it was with CARES Act funding during COVID. And so it's like an outdoor gym, and it's got a cover, and it would make us happy if everyone used it. It's over at the community park. Yeah, so you can get out there and get some fresh air and pump some iron, Marilyn. Yeah.
Jessica, what's Lars's last name?
Lars Ewing, E-W-I-N-G, and he's the Director of Public Services. So he will be bringing the architectural plans over, talk about the all of that. And then I think everyone here is aware that Measure U is going to be on the ballot in November. And I want to introduce the new District 5 Planning Commissioner, Ms. Sharon Zoller.
All right. Hello.
She was recently appointed and sat in on her first meeting, and it's been really important for District 5 to have representation with a planning commissioner that really understands agriculture, so that there's a full breadth of experience on the commission. So thank you, Sharon, for doing that. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was that it's fire season, and we have not had a lot of these conversations here in Kelseyville, in Big Valley. It is a conversation that we have a lot in Cobb and other places around the county, about being prepared always. There is a website that we have, it's called firesafelake.org, that has all of the resources that are available in the county. It pulls a lot of the CAL FIRE resources, has you get connected to Lake Links, Lake Alert, not Lake Links, and Know Your Zone, what used to be Zone Haven and now is Genesis. I go into, as Brian knows, I'm in the fires a lot, and I see a lot. And one of the things that is just the most important thing that you could do is have defensible space. And right now, the laws are changing, and the new law that everyone will be held to this standard soon is called Zone 0. And so CAL FIRE has all these zones, and if you go on firesafelake.org, you can see the zones that CAL FIRE has. They start with 1, which is like 5 to 10 feet from your house, and then they go out. But Zone 0 is 0 vegetation, 0 combustibles within that 0 to 5 foot space all around your house in the perimeter. And it will be sometime in the near future that if you want to have insurance, you're going to have that Zone 0. And it gets complicated when we have decks and trees and different things, but when I go into fires, like when I went into the Boyles fire Sunday night and saw several leveled blocks and one house in the middle untouched, it's because they had defensible space, and it's because they had Zone 0 clearance, and that is where the firefighters go. They go to that house because they know that that house is a structure that they can save, and that is a house that they will be safe at when, hundreds of spot fires start to happen, like what happened at the Boyles fire. So I've just seen this so many times. I wanted to pass it on to you. And again, like, we haven't had these conversations here yet. And there is a lot of information out there if you all want to join or, create a Firewise neighborhood. We can do that. We have Connaught Fire Safe Council is right over the hill. You could set up another one. There's a lot that the community can do to engage, to really protect yourselves, your families, your homes, and harden your whole community. So I just wanted to start that conversation because for me, this September is ember season. Like, we've been in fire season for the last couple of months, but this is like wind-driven events, ember season, where embers can travel miles and do a lot of damage. And so it's just something that everyone really needs to be aware of. And defensible space is just not something that you do once, like you weed eat in May and June, and if it keeps raining, July. But if you get out and you're like deadheading your roses and your plants, and you're pulling throughout the summer, like I was doing today, like just pulling all that litter away from your trees and making sure there's not a lot of ladder fields. It's just constant maintenance. It's just something to always think about. And this time of year especially, like, to walk around your house, look where embers might be collecting, like make sure your gutters are clear, make sure the tree branches are cut up away from your house. So there's a lot to do. Don't get overwhelmed, but if you just do a little bit, when you can, when you have time, it will make a difference. And again, like, all of these resources on firesafelake.org. We've been pulling that website together for a long time, and our Fire Safe Council we've been really building capacity with that organization, which is now, it's under the Lake County Resource Conservation District, the RCD. And so we've really devoted a lot of time into building capacity there and staffing up. And we're in a place right now where we've never been, where we have a lot of staff in these organizations now. And so if you want presentations, if you want demonstrations, if you want any support to kind of do this more on a community level, these resources are available. So it's really good to do planning in the off-season, or, it's blue skies right now, even though we've just had a couple of scary incidents. Because we've had some blue skies time the last couple of years, as a county and as a community and with these nonprofits and organizations, we've been able to achieve a whole lot. So even though we've got the Boyles fire that is really difficult and a lot of homes were lost and a lot of people were displaced, we have built our Lake County COAD, which is communities active in disaster, community organizations active in disaster. We never had that before. So that COAD activated, started bringing resources to people that need them. The Lake County Fire Safe Council is up and running. So there's a lot going on. And so I just encourage you to reach out to me if you have questions or you want to do more, if you're talking to your neighbors. There's a lot that can happen. Anybody have any questions? Is anybody having problems with their homeowner's insurance? Yeah. So, I am on a policy committee with the state working on insurance issues. And there's a lot going on with the insurance commissioner and the governor and the utilities, trying to figure out how we move through this. But what is for sure certain is that there's going to be a lot more responsibilities placed on homeowners and keeping your home safe. And I've been waiting for a non-renewal letter for the last couple of years since all of my neighbors get them. And I got one this year, but it wasn't because of wildfire risk. It was because I had a wood pile in my yard, and the insurers are paying these drone companies to go out, the drone companies are promising the insurers that they can offload their dangerous, high-risk properties and save them money if they look at the drone footage and assess properties that way. So there was a wood pile, and I had some lumber too, because I'm not finished building my house. And so they came up on the drone images, and I had like 60 days to clear everything off my property. So I have no wood on my property now, so I got my insurance reinstated, but it was like, $1,500 more, even though it went up $1,500 the year before that. So the way that you can maintain your insurance, and this will be part of the equation very soon, is to have that zone 0 and to have the defensible space. So just start thinking about it, because it's going to be a requirement as all of this moves into enforceable law. Any other questions? What's that?
It's already happened with insurance.
Oh yeah, it's
That claims that they're canceled because there's things stacked up against the house, and maybe things that aren't even burned.
yeah, well, right, because it's hard to tell from the drone footage.
Well, there's not their drone footage, it's just images of the
They can use
water sensitive,
yeah,
and it's enough to drop it.
yeah, yeah. And so they're using satellite footage and drone footage. And if you ask the insurer to see it, they say no. There's a lot of problems. But that's where this is coming from, and that's the road that we're headed to. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, moving along the agenda. Next up, we have the Lake Area Planning Council, the Lake County Wildfire Evacuation and Preparedness Plan. Oh, skipped over one. Sorry about that. We're going to sub you out for PG&E Resources for Small Business, Carrie Beaver and Jason Taramino. All right. If you guys would just use the microphone and introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jason Tarmino. I'm the Government Affairs Representative for Lake County from PG&E. I have a stack of cards, so whoever wants one, I will give one to. You're welcome to call me for various questions. I'm a good networker for who you need to talk to within PG&E. Most of my job is communications with elected officials and with staff members, but I'm a good resource for who do I call to deal with X, Y, or Z. And sometimes I just talk to people who need someone to talk to about some frustrating situations. But my colleague Carrie's here, and she's got a lot more to say about small businesses and better stuff.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us. My name is Carrie Beaver. I am a customer relationship manager, and specifically I support micro, small, and mid-sized business for the North Coast region. I support Lake County, Mendocino County, and Humboldt. I live here locally as part of our regional support program that is relatively new to PG&E. I'm here locally so that I understand the environment and some of the challenges that we're all facing as consumers, as business owners, et cetera. The purpose for my being here tonight, there is a business-to-business mixer next week on the 18th. PG&E will be there, Jason and I will be there to speak with business owners and offer individual care and attention to accounts when, folks need us to take a look at things. I know oftentimes it's frustrating to call into an 800 number, get into a phone tree. I am a local support person to help support small businesses. So our ask this evening is just tell us how you want us to support at that event. We can simply be there in a reactionary capacity with a table, some information. I'll have my contact information for business owners, or we can give a small 2 to 3 slide presentation. It is completely up to you. We just want you to know that there is support here locally in the region, and that we're dedicated to helping small business owners.
Where will that mixer be taking place?
It's at Clear Lake Senior Center. Yes, it is through the chamber. Sorry, I'm coming as a guest, so I'm not super well versed on the setup of that. So, any questions? Any comments?
Wait,
concerns?
I have a question. Oh, what are you guys doing? Hi, Carrie, it's Joy. We've talked
Hi, yes.
through Zoom a few times. But, what are some things that PG&E is doing? Is there any financial help because I think everybody's dealing with
Right.
massive financial struggles with PG&E costs going up, and it's
Right.
probably no end in sight. So what's out there to help?
There are a variety of programs that we can look at, and the best way that I have found to assist individual businesses is to look at all of the available programs and see if I can match up any programs with a local business. I can't always do that. There isn't always a cost-saving solution, but I'm going to look at rates. I'm going to look at behavioral opportunities to change usage. Even in the smallest way can make a big, big difference in relation to monthly cost. We've got energy efficiency upgrade programs that I don't think businesses are aware of. We do a 0% financing on energy efficiency equipment. It's a really amazing program. It's been in place for a very long time. There are a variety of programs that we can look at. We do have an economic development rate, though it is incredibly difficult to qualify. We have to basically prove that the business is going out of business, like that they're struggling to stay in business, and steps are being taken to either move out of the state or out of a PG&E service area, or go out of business completely. It's challenging, and that's unfortunate. We are fighting from our team up to expand coverage of that rate. But I will look at the account, we'll look at usage, we'll look at demand, we'll look at any of the programs that are currently available, and then we have additional campaigns that come up throughout the year. I have a portfolio of businesses that are my responsibility, and whether it's a business, a restaurant, a retail location, I visited 2 customers on the way here. I take a look at the individual needs of that business and the usage, and do my best to see if we can find a cost-saving opportunity. And that's, I think sometimes just having an individual advocate helps people to feel like they're being taken care of. I may not have a campaign or a program today, but in 3 months, when that next campaign becomes available, I will revisit all of my portfolio and try and match up people with the program.
What is the proof required for the economic hardship rate specifically?
I don't have it directly in front of me. It's in my PowerPoint presentation, but specifically it is businesses who are failing or at risk of going out of business or moving out of state.
But failing by what metric? I mean,
They're closing.
so do they have to present you with like profit and loss sheets? Do they present you with what kind
There is a group that goes through that, so I can dig deeper into that. What I have been told is, like, if a business is looking to move outside of a PG&E service area because they can't stay in business where they're located, there are signed affidavits that show that you've looked at property. There's got to be proof that there are steps being taken to either move out or close the business completely.
Or if they're just closing completely, and does that, I guess what I'm wondering is, does it need to be tied to their PG&E bill? Or, you know, like, do you have to say, well, my PG&E bill went up by $1,000 this month and that's why I need to close my business? Or does it matter what the cause of the closure is? If it's economic?
Well, presumably, what are the major causes for a business being at risk of closing? It's mortgage and or lease payment, insurance, and utility. Those are your 3 highest costs, and we know that. So we do have to look at those things. There is a specific team that qualifies folks for that. And as I said, right now I don't think it's an ideal program, but if we have businesses that are at risk of leaving or closing their doors, I think it's worth connecting them with the group and see if we can qualify.
And those business owners should contact you specifically?
Yes, and I will get them connected with the right person.
I know that I will be directing a lot of people your way, because I've talked to Jessica about this before. I field questions continually.
Right.
And the proximate cost to them shutting their doors is PG&E bills, and that's 100%. It's not, they're not doing anything different. I can attest that maybe the cost of food has gone up, or if you have a restaurant,
Sure.
whatnot, but it seems like refrigerators, freezers, things that are, businesses that are running through peak hours,
Right.
restaurants are,
Specifically.
we're losing them already. We just had
Right.
one close on Main Street. We have others. I have a sandwich shop. I don't have his permission to talk about it just yet, but he told me he had you gotta sell a lot of sandwiches to cover a $5,000 monthly PG&E bill. Then that's not gonna cut it. I mean, he's gonna be out of business before he even has time to come to you and be like, hey, I'm hoping in 3 months there's a program that can help me. It's like, they're gonna shut their doors, and then our already kind of lacking economic area here is gonna be,
We're challenged by the same issues in Mendocino County. I mean, my favorite restaurant in Willis just closed last week.
Right.
It was heartbreaking. And I think it's also very important. I don't want to not be empathetic, but there are other costs involved in the economic challenges that we're facing, right? Fuel cost is prohibiting vendors from getting food, equipment, maintenance into our relatively difficult service areas.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I specifically pointed out the restaurants and a couple of things like that, but I know we have a lot of farm and ag reps
Right.
in the room that can attest. And there's probably programs for that it's not just that, it's our farming community that's been getting kicked in the teeth for years.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, their ag well is now costing them 4 times as much. And it's like, well, at what point are we just going to be decimated, essentially business-wise, economically, which we're already not, I would say, doing amazing.
Right. We're all challenged.
Yeah,
right,
it's
of
a
course.
tough.
And-
So there's lots of fingers getting pointed, and the first thing, of course, is utility bills,
Sure.
because that is what I'm hearing the most right now. That is the biggest struggle. So.
Right. And I can't look to you and say, I have to look at your account. But there may be some opportunity by changing your pump times to make a big dent in that bill. I don't know without looking specifically at your usage, But that's the resource that I'm extending, is to have a single point of contact who's advocating for you. I do support small ag, but there is an agricultural team who is even more specialized, and I have resources there. When I hit a wall and can't find a solution, I have another team to go to, and that is my role, to represent you in that way and be your advocate until we get to the final answer. If I don't have a program today, you know, I understand that the best answer isn't, well, we might have a program for you in 3 months. But if that's the situation that we're in, if we can make a couple of changes with time of use and then seek to connect you with other programs as they become available, that is my best resource. I think the thing to focus on is you have someone to advocate for you when this region has maybe been a little underserved in the past. I don't think that people have had the resource of a single point of contact recently, at least, to say, I will take your account and peel through it and find out where we can help. So I'm, you know, that's what we're extending.
Okay. Anybody?
Any other questions? Rick?
Is there any, does PG&E offering any kind of incentive programs or rebate programs that coincide with the Inflation Reduction Act of 2024, federal government's rolling out?
Not to my knowledge, and I can go ask that question, but to my knowledge, I have not heard of any rebates in relation to that specifically.
Has there been any discussion of not raising rates in the future in socioeconomically depressed areas like this, since they just raised rates, what was it, 25% this year?
We also just went down 9% in July. And now there's talks of a rate increase again in September and October. We don't know what will come out of that. That's all on the floor of the CPUC. You know, I want, yes, please.
And if those discussions,
So as far as rate
being held.
increases go for the future, the goal is to keep them around 3% for the next few years. We have a look ahead of about 3 years from our rate case study. You know, all utilities in general are monopolies. All the rates are set in conjunction with a government entity. And so for the next 3 years, the goal is to keep it at 3%.
3% per year,
Correct.
so 9% over the next 3 years.
Correct.
Is there any, anyone specifically to contact, is it you, if someone wants to make their voices heard regarding the rate increase?
Well, certainly people call me and talk to me all the time about it. Maybe your question is also maybe, how do you have your voice heard in maybe a larger venue?
Yes.
So I would suggest through your representatives is probably the best way. That's, you know, that's your local, that's your county, that's your state, that's your federal. And then, you know, there is also the opportunity to write to the California Public Utilities Commission. And your question before was specifically, are there specific programs for socioeconomic regions that are lower income? No, there's not. We have 2 programs focused on individuals. So that's the CARE and the FIRA. And that is based upon people's income. But certainly those should be taken advantage of. They should be recommended to anybody who is having trouble. And then Carrie's, you know, here on the business side. I would say personally, in a previous world, I had someone from PG&E call me and say, would you like to do an energy audit? And I said, not really. And she's like, well, I'd really like to do one. I said, well, what help if for you, is that what you're supposed to do? She said, yes, it is. And I said, well, okay, let's do this. Well, it turned out we were paying, in one of the buildings that we had, we were paying for 2 other people's electric bill and didn't know it. So it really worked out well for us. So I think I would recommend for all your businesses to call Carrie and have those conversations.
And that energy audit is available to any small business, no obligation, no cost. We send a trade professional out, an energy efficiency specialist, to do a complete audit of the facility. They will make recommendations for equipment upgrade, but again, you don't have to move forward with that. We do have financing options. I understand taking on another loan is not ideal in this climate, but to Jason's point, they can identify other things that we would have otherwise never known.
Can you quickly identify the qualifications for the FIRA and the CARE opportunities?
They're income-based,
Okay.
and I don't know what the income level is.
Okay.
Are those available on the website?
Yes, they are available on the website.
Some financial support for generators, because when you turn the electricity off, a lot of folks can't afford a generator. Their operation or their life going. Is there something available for that?
There are a couple of rebates available to help with that, but like a $300 rebate towards.
We get you to use the microphone, please.
There are rebates available for a generator. The one that comes to mind specifically is about $300 for the cost of that generator. It offsets it some, but that's not a massive amount. Again, those programs are constantly changing, so by looking at individual need, I can look at what's available, see what, what it is that you're looking at and what we can do.
Yeah, and as far as generators go, we have many programs for people with special needs. So for example, we have a medical based on the program. So we offer battery backup, and I believe there's a generator option there as well. But I would say one of the things that I really like is that we have a meter that we invented basically, and now we will take your existing meter, swap it out, and it has a plug where you can plug your own generator in. So it acts as a electrical transfer switch. It's very handy. And a lot of people are using this in high fire areas. Supervisor President.
Since you're here, would you explain fast trip outages because this is experience?
Okay, so tools in the toolbox, we have our public safety power shutoffs, which is when we shut off a relatively large area of power. That is always in high fire threat districts, and that is really weather dependent. Really, it's about being in fire season, having a very low level of moisture in fuels and winds. That's the BSPS. The fast trip that you're talking about is our enhanced power line safety settings. So we've invested hundreds of $millions, again, in high fire threat areas for equipment, often called line reclosers, but generally everyone calls it BSS, but it's about setting our equipment typically so that if a branch is to cross the wires and there will be arcing, the line will shut itself off within 10 seconds. So in the olden days, before we had this equipment, the line would arc across something would on fire would fall on the ground, it would cause a fire, and it would really take a big tree falling across the line before that line would de-energize. So utilities in general were causing a lot of fires. So PG&E invested a few $100 million starting a few years ago, and these investments continue to go on. So that most of these enhanced power line safety setting trips happen from birds, think turkeys, and branches falling. And so they trip off, and you all know it because your power goes out. But then we don't just turn the power on and sort of test to see if it's okay. Then we dispatch a trouble person to go out and walk the line. So you may see that we have lights hanging on some of our lines. That's to identify a location where there's been one of these trips. So we, in high fire threat areas, experience a lot more power outages. They affect significantly fewer people, 50 people here, 100 people there, 1,500 people here, and then somebody has to go out, usually in the middle of the night, and watch the line, or wait until the morning and a helicopter flies. It's a really important program. It's super effective. I'm on a call every morning, and they're talking about these trips that have happened the night before. So it's 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, and we're going through each one of them, what happened, where did it happen, do we have a cause? It's shutting off your power, but a good way to look at it is it's stopping fires. Too long-winded, sorry.
No, it's perfect. The technology is also improving all the time. 6 months, a year ago, even, it impacted a greater number of people and took a little bit longer. My understanding is we get better and better all the time with how quickly we respond, how quickly the power comes back on, and the communication now.
Yes.
There is still, we live off of Galley Lane.
Yes.
And there's still a lot of power lines going right through trees. I'm wondering why those branches have been cut out.
Okay, so I'm repeating that for the whole world out there. So
Yeah.
there are many power lines going through trees, and what is our program for that? So last year we spent $1.8 billion on what we call vegetation management, which is tree trimming for the most part, to make sure that as many trees as possible, as many branches as possible don't impact the line and don't cause fires. That work will be ongoing, and it represents about $20 for the average bill. So it's real money, but it's not half of the bill. But we continue to do that. We have I have someone on my team who helps out that. So when people call me or send me a text message and say, hey, there's this tree, there's an issue, I have someone on my team specifically from Government Affairs who then works with a vegetation management team. I'll bring up one of the major issues is if you have trees on your property, you're welcome to trim them yourself. We will get there, not often on the timeline that the homeowner wants. And then for trees that we need to cut down, we take all the brush away, and we leave some pretty big logs. Not usually people don't want those logs there, but that is part of the program. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along where I jumped the gun earlier. Our Lake County Wildfire Evacuation Preparedness Plan. Sorry, I don't have your name for, if you, uh-oh. Thomas to the rescue. Thank you, Thomas. Check, check. Thank you, yeah, appreciate you. We'll pass these out. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you. Hi, my name is John Spica. I'm with the Lake Area Planning Council.
Great.
Is that okay? Is that working? Okay, is that better? Again, my name is John Spica. I'm with the Lake Area Planning Council. We are the regional transportation planning agency for the Lake County region. Thank you for having me tonight. I want to kind of get the word out of a project we are currently working on. First, I'll explain what the Lake Area Planning Council is, the APC. Like I said, we're the regional transportation planning agency for the Lake County region. What we do is we work with the different jurisdictions in this region. So, for instance, the county and the 2 cities. And we help get transportation funds through the state, and we're kind of a local. We're not a state representative, but we do work closely with Caltrans to get funds to this region for high priority projects and that sort of thing. We received a grant recently to prepare this wildfire evacuation and preparedness plan, and what we are trying to do at this point, this is kind of, earlier stages of the project. We are trying to get the community's input on what their priorities are on wildfire evacuation protocols. We're trying to get the agencies on, kind of on the same page, coordinate their efforts for wildfire preparedness. We're trying to get all the transportation routes in a, more effective evacuation routes and that sort of thing for certain areas. There's one way in, one way out. There's a number of issues throughout the county. Of course, it's a large area. I understand, I think there was a Soda Bay Road project just recently for an evacuation plan. This one is region-wide, so certainly that will be kind of part and parcel of this whole project. Our consultants that we are working with have contacted those, the consulting firm that put that plan together, so it will be all in conjunction with that. In any case, so again, the plan is to help with wildfire evacuation and preparedness issues. We'd like the community to take a survey, and I have both online and hard copy surveys. We're trying to get as much input as we can at this early stage, just to see what types of issues are out there, and then kind of gather all that. And then we will have some public workshops later in October, one being in Clear Lake on the 23rd. Is this one working too? Okay. October 23rd in Clear Lake City Hall, and a second one in the city of Lakeport on Thursday, October 24th at their city hall. And those will be workshops that the consultant will lead the charge and explain kind of more of the details of where they're at with the project, and hopefully have kind of, well, the comment or the information gathering, at least for the community portion of it, is through the end of October, but they will kind of give you an early, kind of early project. Here's what we're working on, here's what we're working towards. The project's shooting for mid-2026 for completion date, and that there will be a second series of workshops to show the draft to the community and try to get comments at that point. Yes?
Does this fold into the general plan?
It doesn't, although it works in conjunction with it. I know they're working on the general plan at the county level at this point, and there's hazard mitigation plan that's kind of going on at the same time, and there's a lot of overlap between the two. In fact, either one or both of these workshop meetings will kind of introduce both projects. It happens to be the same consultant working on both projects, so since there is so much overlap, it will kind of gather information for both.
What's the website for the survey and for more information?
I have flyers for anyone interested with a QR code, so you could scan your phone and take the survey directly online. It also has our website. I also have my business card for any information that you'd like from the Lake Area Planning Council. Again, we have a consultant working on it, but I'm the project manager kind of overseeing what the consultant is doing. And we also have a stack, for those of you who are kind of would rather not do the online version, we do have hard copies available that I'd be happy to provide as well.
I'll take one of those flyers.
Is there, maybe I could just leave these?
Yeah. Anywhere you like, yeah.
And I think I was towards the end of your agenda, so if anyone does have any questions, I could just hang out here for a few more minutes, and I'd be happy to show you what the survey, the hard copy version, if anyone's interested in that, or have a business card for anyone who wants to ask me more questions later.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
One thing really quick. Speaking of surveys, I just wanted to mention to you all, I gave you a copy of all of the planning projects that are going on in the Kelseyville region, so that's just for you to have so you know what's going on. We'll try to do that every month or every other month when we get updates. That was from last month. I didn't get this month's update, but anyway, it's all relevant things that are happening in the community. And then the other thing, speaking of surveys, the Planning 2050 survey. If you guys haven't done it yet, please do. Out of the Kelseyville, Big Valley area district, only 75 people have completed that survey. We only have 13 days left.
No, to the 13th.
Oh, till the
So
13th.
today's the 11th,
Oh, so
2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
So encourage anyone
Just do it.
that you can. We will try to get it posted on our Big Valley Area Council Facebook page. Spread the news. Please, everyone take that survey. It's super important.
Great. Okay, anybody have anything else last minute? I'm gonna adjourn this thing. Great, okay, it's 6:51, and today is September 11th. Our next meeting is gonna be October 9th at 6 PM, same time, same place. Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Meeting adjourned.